Hey everybody, this is Jack Hammer here at Live Levi Stadium, where tonight the 49ers are going to be taking on the Los Angeles Rams. Huge Monday night contest going to be going down here tonight at the Vi. Going to be a good game, going to be interesting. Let's get into some of the different topics that we have to go through for this game as far as how this game's going to play out. The 5 keys I put together for the 49ers, if they're going to come out victorious. I can answer some of your questions in the comment section as well. If you guys have any that you'd like to ask over there, any 49ers questions that you have, go ahead and throw those over in the comment section. We'll get to those as the show goes on. We'll be here for about a half hour, 45 minutes. We'll see how long it takes us to get through these. Like I said, I got my five keys to the game, my 5 burning questions that I put out every week before a game. Let's go ahead and get into those, starting with Jimmy Garoppolo. You know, the 49ers come into this game and they need a big bounce back game from Jimmy Garoppolo. 49ers come into this thing 1-2. Rams are 2-1. While it looks bad, a 49ers win tonight puts them at the top of the NFC West. Everybody will be at 2-2, but because of head-to-head wins over Seattle and Los Angeles, as well as being 2-0 in the division, the 49ers would be in first place in the NFC West if they can take this game tonight. And number one is going to be Jimmy Garoppolo having to bounce back. Now, looking over at the comment section real quick, just want to shout out a few folks over there. We got Platform 246. We have Robert Davis and the Moon Man over in the comment section checking it out right now. If you guys have some questions, go ahead and throw them over there. We'll make sure that we get through those as well as we go through. But when it comes to Jimmy Garoppolo, you know, you look at his performance last week against Denver, it was one of the worst that we've ever seen of him. He's had some bad games for the 49ers. He's also had some decent and good games. But that one on Sunday night, that was about as bad as it gets for Garoppolo. It could get worse. Obviously, he still completed about 60% of his passes, but it wasn't good. And the 49ers definitely need a bounce-back game for him tonight. And he's going up against a team that he's had a great deal of success playing against. He started 6 regular season games against the Rams. Hasn't lost one yet. He's 6-0, so knock on some wood there. In addition to that 6-0 record, Garoppolo has completed about 65% of his passes, 121 of 177 attempts. So he completes passes against the Rams at a very high rate, just under 1,600 yards in those 6 games. He has 9 touchdowns, but the bad side there is he has 7 interceptions. We're going to get into why those interceptions could be costly in a few minutes. But, you know, this is the thing when you look at it, the Rams pass defense, everybody knows about their pass rush. Aaron Donald and Leonard Floyd coming off the edge. 49ers are going to be without their starting left tackle, Trent Williams. He's out today. Colton McKivitz will be replacing him. The Rams' pass defense has been very middle of the pack, though. When you look at it, over the first 3 weeks, they've allowed a net average of 6.2 yards per pass attempt, which puts them right in the middle of the pack at 16. So the 49ers can possibly take advantage of that a little bit if Jimmy Garoppolo can come out and have a good game. We'll see how it works out. We got Lucas from the member of the Toolbox here. He's from over in Austria. He shouts out, says, "Good evening, Jack. Can't wait for the game. It's going to be a good one, Lucas. Hope you're all ready to stay up all night and have a good game tonight. It's going to be an interesting one." And then there's Bomber T says, "Let's go Niners." We have Chrissy 1687 saying hi. We have Andrew who says, "Hello, Jack. I'm back. Do you think the 49ers have enough healthy bodies to stop the run tonight?" I do. I really think the 49ers have enough healthy bodies. It's pretty much the same group that they had last week. Eric Armstead might be active. We won't know that until about 4:45. Not 4:45. About 3:45 this afternoon. So about an hour, we'll find out if Eric Armstead is healthy. If he's healthy, then that's a plus for the 49ers to get him back. But we saw them do a pretty good job against the run last week. They started to get worn down because the offense couldn't stay on the field. But I think I do think the 49ers are going to have a good chance to stop the run. The Rams haven't run the ball very well this year. They're one of the lower averages in the league, about 3.5 yards, just a little over that this season. I think maybe even 3.8. Not good, though. And so I'm not worried about the 49ers stopping the run tonight. I don't think that's the issue. I'm more worried about them being able to slow down Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp. And in some ways, slowing down Matthew Stafford means taking away everybody but Cooper Kupp. And we'll get to that one a little bit as well, as odd as that might sound. Steven says that the Niners are going to get Jimmy injured today. Stinky line can't protect the paper bag. I expect the running game won't work until Shanahan has no choice but to put Jordan Mason in. We'll see. Jordan Mason definitely should get some run today. And Andrew also wants to ask everybody, please hit that like button. If you could, hit that like button as you go through there. That'd be fantastic. Moonman wants to ask Jack, how do you think we're going to play Cup? Is that going to be Lenore or Womack? Who you see as a better chance against him? I personally think that that Samuel Womack has a better chance against Diameter Lenore just based off of what we've seen from him, at least what I've seen from him, at training camp and on the film from college and even the start of this year. I think he's a better man cover corner than Lenore. Not really fully sure what went into that. I know Shanahan said that Lenore was having a better week of practice, so that's why he got the start. But I think it's going to be. I think it should be Womack. We'll see. I think that's going to be that's obviously the key matchup, the one everybody's going to focus on. And we'll get into that one in just a little bit as well on how that one goes, because I'm not sure if stopping Cooper Kupp and focusing everything on him is really what you need to do. We'll get into that in a minute. And Julian says Jimmy G will kick ass tonight. He's never had 2 bad games in a row. Well, he's had some bad games in a row, but from where he was, as bad as he was last week, it's very hard to think that he's going to be that bad this week. But we're going to find that out here in a couple of hours. So Jimmy Garoppolo bouncing back. That's number one. He's got to bounce back for the 49ers to win this thing. We've already seen it last year when the 49ers beat the Rams in the regular season. The first game and here at Levi's, there was obviously the running game and the amount of runs that the 49ers put out there. Like, it was over 40. That was kind of the story, but Jimmy Garoppolo hit on a lot of third downs to convert third downs, and that was really one of the biggest keys of that game, was Garoppolo's ability to keep the sticks moving by hitting short third down conversions. And then we saw that to an extent as well down in Los Angeles in the second game in the regular season. Garoppolo putting the ball on guys, moving the sticks, especially late in the game. They had the one drive, it was pretty much all running, but other than that, Garoppolo was having to work the sticks and move the ball down. Saw that in overtime as well. So Garoppolo definitely has to have a good game tonight for the 49ers to win. That's no doubt on that one. And then number 2, can the 49ers get their run game back on track? I think you look at this, and this is a big one for the 49ers when you look at their success over the Rams in the last couple of 3 seasons. 49ers have registered 30 or more carries in 5 of their last 6 regular season games against the Rams, including 44, like I mentioned, in the last time matchup here at Levi Stadium on that Monday night matchup, 44 of them. If you can reach 30 carries on Monday night, tonight it's going to be difficult, I think, for the 49ers because the Rams defense has been really good against the run. They've allowed an average of only 3.8 yards per attempt, so they really force you to be patient with the run if you're going to stick to it and run the ball more than 30 times. That low yards per attempt really kind of helps explain why opponents have only averaged 24.3 attempts per game against Los Angeles this season. Teams are definitely throwing more. A lot of that's because they can't run the ball very well against them. So can the 49ers get their run game going a little bit? Colton McKivitz out of left tackle. Don't think that we're going to see that drop off in the run game. Where you have an issue with Colton McKivitz, it's going to be more in the passing game. So can they get the ball running so that they can use play action to kind of help slow that pass rush down and help McKivitz out? For the 49ers to reach 3 or more carries, they're going to have to find a way to keep drives alive. That's the biggest thing with the 49ers offense. They haven't been able to stay on the field. Whether it was, in week 1 out in Chicago, they did a pretty good job of converting on third down. Wasn't too bad. Week 2, struggled a little bit. Week 3 was awful. And when you look at it right now, the 49ers ranked 24th in the league in average plays per possession. They're only at 5.5. 5.5 plays per possession is where the 49ers rank. That's bad, especially when you consider that the defense has been one of the better defenses, and they've allowed opponents only 5.1 plays per possession. So that shows you how bad the 49ers offense is. They have yet to show the ability to march the ball down the field with an extended drive that doesn't involve, an explosive play. Their drives have all pretty much had an explosive plays that have got them down there, or they've started in great field position. The only one that I can think of that was a little bit of a longer drive was the final touchdown score against Seattle here in week 2. But again, the 49ers offense needs to stay on field, and part of that's going to be getting the running game on track. So let me go ahead and, before I get to the third one, let me take a look at the comment section, see if we've got going on over there. Uh, Tammy's asking if Debo is going to, how is Debo going to do tonight? Think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to get some yardage in the air? Is it Jimmy Garoppolo or is it Jim Wee Garoppolo? After the way that he's talked this week, mentioned I mentioned that on Twitter this week. He never says "I" in any of his press conferences. He never talks about when he plays bad. It's always about we. It's always the team. It's kind of interesting. But is Jim Wee Garoppolo gonna get it done tonight? Let's take this one first off. Is Debo gonna get? Is he gonna? How do I think Debo Samuel's going to do? I think Debo Samuel's always done pretty well against the Rams. That's one of the things in his career. He's had some of his bigger performances against the Rams. You go back to 2020, he had big games in both of the 49ers wins in 2020, and then last year in 2019, big performances as well. The first one here at Levi's was that first game when they used him out of the backfield a lot, kind of caught the Rams off guard. Then you go to the Week 18 matchup, and his ability to run the ball really kind of helped set them up for some scores. Actually got, helped set up a touchdown pass from Deebo Samuel as well. NFC Championship game, the big screen that he takes 45 yards for a touchdown. So I think we're going to see some things out of Deebo Samuel tonight. He's going to have a positive outcome. As far as Jimmy Garoppolo going to get some yardage in the air, I don't know if Edward is going to see that yardage come from balls being thrown down the field, but I think it goes back to what I just mentioned a minute ago with Deebo. If they get Samuel going on these screens, that really helps out Garoppolo, get the ball out of his hands. He doesn't like to hold on to it. We know that he doesn't throw the ball well down the field. So if you can get Deebo moving and get him across, run those in patterns and get him on the run, you might get some good yak out of him. So I don't think we're going to see a lot of air yardage, but I think we're going to see Garoppolo put up around probably 200 to 250 yards tonight would be my guess. Robert Davis says, Jimmy has had a roller coaster career. Time for an up game. That's right. We're here at Levi Stadium. Right across the parking lot is Great America. It's the perfect backdrop for Jimmy Garoppolo because that is the Jimmy Garoppolo experience. It's like riding a roller coaster. You're going up, you're going down, you're doing loop-de-loops, you're doing all kinds of different things, going through the corkscrew, and most of Jimmy Garoppolo's games kind of take you on a roller coaster ride, and you just hope that you get to it at the end in one piece. Last week we didn't. This week you hope that it works out a little bit better for the 49ers. Robert asked, do you see Jordan Mason getting a chance? We need some juice in the running back position. Mason has those young legs. I hope we do, but here's the thing. The 49ers just announced some of the players that they pulled up from the practice squad. Tevin Coleman was one of them, so I have a hard time seeing Tevin Coleman being activated and elevated to the active roster for tonight's game and not getting into the game. So I'm a little nervous that we're going to see more of Tevin Coleman tonight than we're going to see of Jordan Mason. Jimmy, I agree with you. Mason has those young legs. He's the one guy in the backfield that looks explosive when he runs the ball. I'm not quite sure what is holding the 49ers back from giving him more opportunities. I hope that he gets a chance tonight. I'm not certain that it's going to happen just based off of history with Kyle Shanahan and the fact that they brought up Tevin Coleman to the active roster here tonight. They also, real quick, since we're on that topic, they went ahead and they signed Willie Snead, so he's on the roster now. He also elevated Malik Turner to the active roster tonight, so gives you a little bit of idea. Looks like the 49ers might have 6 wide receivers active in this game tonight. That would actually probably bode well for a Deebo Samuel explosion as far as going back to that earlier question on what we see out of him. Vega Triumph says, a statue of Jimmy G in front of Levi Stadium, campaign for the nations. Let's start it tonight. Okay. Yeah, we'll put that right over on the other side of the river right there on the by the walk. That's where we'll put it. Let's go. Let's get to the next one. Number 3. This one really should be number 1 because I think this is the biggest key to the game tonight for both teams. And can the 49ers hold on to the football? Since the start of last season, the 49ers are 1-7 when they turn the ball over more than their opponents. On the flip side of that, though, when the turnover margin is either tied or favors the 49ers, they're 12-3. San Francisco lost a turnover battle in 2 of its 3 games to start this season, so it makes sense that they're 1-2. And while ball security is always important, it takes on added significance against the Rams. In the 3 matchups with LA last season, we saw San Francisco win the turnover battle in the first matchup here at Levi Stadium, in which they won going away. In the other two matchups, the turnover margin was tied. Those games were both decided by 3 points, with the 49ers winning one and the Rams winning the other. So if the 49ers can hold on to the ball and come out on the plus side tonight, I think we see them come out with a blowout here. Garoppolo, here's the thing, though. This is what you want to look at. Jimmy Garoppolo has made 46 starts for the 49ers. In those 46 games, he's turned the ball over 48 times, 39 interceptions, 9 fumbles lost. Not good in those starts. Against Los Angeles last season, Garoppolo threw 3 interceptions. Those 3 interceptions all coming down in LA in those 2 matchups. The 2 in the season finale, and then 1 in the NFC Championship game at the end. Now, Garoppolo isn't the only 49ers that's had trouble holding on to the football this year. If you look at the 49ers offense, they've recorded at least 1 fumble in each game so far through the first 3 weeks. Now, they haven't lost all those fumbles, but they have at least put the ball on the ground at least once in every game. So, 49ers need to hold on to the football. Jimmy Garoppolo needs to do a good job of it. And part of the reason why all that's important is because my number 4 key to the game is the defense forcing Matthew Stafford into mistakes. Now, Matthew Stafford, if you watch him, when you watch Matthew Stafford, you know that he's going to give the defense opportunities to take the ball away. Stafford threw interceptions on 2.8% of his pass attempts last season. This season already he's at 4.9. He has 5 interceptions, only 4 touchdowns. He's going to put the ball in position for 49ers defenders to make a play at least once tonight. You can almost take that to the bank and lock it down as a guarantee. Stafford, threw a couple of interceptions in both regular season games against the 49ers. Last year here at Levi's, he had the early interception that led to points for the 49ers after a long drive. And then he also had a pick 6 that was taken back by Jimmy Ward on the next series or 2 after that. So Stafford's going to give you opportunities. You've got to take advantage of those. And if you can do that, it's going to enhance your chance of winning like we just talked about in number 3. So turnovers going to be a big part of that, and that goes both ways with Jimmy Garoppolo and Matthew Stafford. Let's see what else we've got. Andrew wants to know, is George Kittle a bum now? I saw this floating around on Twitter today. George Kittle, his numbers being low and whatnot. I'll say this. Part of George Kittle's issue has been his inability to stay healthy. He struggled with being healthy. The other issue with George Kittle is who he has a quarterback. And Jimmy Garoppolo, you've got to get the ball thrown to you to put up numbers. It's not surprising that George Kittle's biggest statistical year was in 2018 when Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't the quarterback, and it was Nick Mullins. And Nick Mullins threw the ball to him a lot. I think it was 137 targets that season, somewhere in that ballpark. It was a big number. And ever since then, it's been much lower. He doesn't get the ball thrown to him very much. It makes it really hard to put up yards, put up points if you're not getting the ball thrown to you. The other thing when it comes to George Kittle is he's such a good blocker that they'll keep him in at times to block. We saw that last week when Trent Williams first went down and they had Jalen Moore, and Jalen Moore was struggling to touch anybody, and they had to use Kittle to help block on the left side. So I don't think that Kittle's a bum. I don't think that Kittle's washed. I think Kittle just needs to stay healthy, and he needs the quarterback to actually throw the ball to him. Because when he throws the ball to him and he catches it, he usually does pretty well. And this is a team in the Rams that George Kittle has done very good against in the past. I think he's averaging over 70 yards per game over the last 3 years here at Levi's against the Rams. So keep an eye on George Kittle tonight. I think he might be one of those guys that on the 49ers offensive side that can surprise you. If they don't have to keep him in to help out with Colton McKivitz, he might be a guy that you're going to see get targeted tonight. Let's see what else we've got. Just kind of looking through the questions real quick, and then I'll get back to the last one. 49er Magic, Jack, what does Kyle need to do to take this game over? Well, he needs his run game to work, and he needs his quarterback to hit throws that open. Talked about this on Friday when I was on the Krug Show with Larry Kruger. Kyle Shanahan's issue isn't his play calling. His play calling opens guys up across the field. It opens up, especially in the passing game. His problem is that the quarterbacks can't hit him. Whether it was Trey Lance with the miss of Tyler Kroft in week 1, then coming back later in the beginning of the second half and not throwing to a wide open Juwan Jennings in the end zone and getting sacked instead. Or Jimmy Garoppolo last week missing guys all over the field. And even when he did put the ball on him, having the pass be so poor that the guys are spinning around like tops trying to catch the ball. That's his biggest downfall, is that he has not been able to get the quarterback position figured out right. Lance was supposed to be the guy. Lance is out. Now we're back to Jimmy Garoppolo. He needs his quarterbacks to make plays, and he needs Jimmy Garoppolo to make plays tonight if they're going to win this game. The running game's going to do what it does. But last year, even with as good as the running game was, they don't win that game if the passing game doesn't hit a couple of shots. The touchdown for example, that touchdown across the middle to Deebo Samuel on the dig route, that kind of thing. So that's that part. And no, I don't have any chew. I don't chew, man. I don't chew, David. Just bite my lips a lot, but don't do that. And then the last one is the 49ers defense going to stay hot. The 49ers defense has to stay hot tonight. They've been terrific to start the season. Through the first 3 weeks, they ranked first in total yards allowed per possession and points pass yards allowed, along with passing touchdowns allowed. All number one for the 49ers defense. And in addition to that, they're second in points per possession. They're second in plays allowed per possession. And they're third in yards per rush attempt. So in this game, you have a Rams offense that hasn't run the ball good, going up against a 49ers defense that stopped the run like crazy. So a lot of this game is going to rely, I think, on the quarterbacks. This week, 49ers are going to face their toughest test yet, though, because you look at the 49ers quarterbacks and who they faced. Week 1, Justin Fields. Week 2, Geno Smith. Last week it was Russell Wilson, who burned the 49ers in the fourth quarter, but he had he had some open throws that he missed early on in that game, and he's not really the Russell Wilson that we've always known either. So I think you come into this one and you have Matthew Stafford, who's completed over 70% of his passes in all 3 games, and he's going to give you a different test. And then on top of that, you have Cooper Kupp, and he's the top target so far through the first 3 games of the season. In the 3 games against the 49ers last year, Kupp caught 29 passes against the 49ers. He was targeted 34 times. That means almost every time they threw it to him, it was a catch. And he picked up 382 yards and a few touchdowns on that. But here's the thing, and I know this sounds counterintuitive. You know that Kupp's going to get his. What you need to do is you need to make him be the only guy that can make anything. So they need to do a really good job on Tyler Higbee, in my view. The tight ends were one of the, and I know that Cooper Kupp is the guy that caught the game-winning score, had a big number of big catches against the 49ers in that NFC Championship game. But the Rams also moved the ball really well with the throws underneath of their tight ends on their screen game and those kind of things. And that's where Higbee comes in. Higbee's actually accounted for more yards after the catch this season than Cooper Kupp. And that's on only 9 receptions. So 9 catches for Higbee, and he has more yards after the catch than Kupp. And obviously that's because he's usually catching the ball underneath and most of it's coming after. So that's, like I said, that's something 49ers struggled with though last year. They've got to be able to hold on to him and keep that down. In addition to all this, Stafford's 5 interceptions have come. 3 of his 5 interceptions, one he's been throwing to Tyler Higbee. So you're going to get a lot of Cooper Kupp. Tyler Higbee is the number 2 guy. Stafford's interceptions tend to come a little bit more often when he's throwing to Higbee. So do what you can on Cooper Kupp. Do your best, but don't forget about Higbee as well. So make sure you kind of keep an eye on him tonight, 49er fans, as a second guy coming off in the pass progression tonight. If he's able to get that far, if the 49ers aren't able to sack him by that point. Let's see what else we got. Robert wants to know, can you see Brunskill coming in at center or left tackle if either position has issues? If Brunskill is healthy, he's going to be the 6th man, which means he'll be the first guy off the bench. So I could see him coming in at center or left tackle. I don't really see center as being the 49ers' bigger issue. I think the left tackle side is a bigger. Left tackle and right guard. Spencer Burford's a rookie. I understand it. He's loved by the 49er fan base because he's a rookie that's starting. He's struggling. And I think that if there's anywhere that we're going to see Daniel Brunskill, it's going to be at right guard. So if Daniel Brunskill's active tonight and he's starting, he's going to be the starter at right guard. I think. I don't think it'll be at center. We'll see how that all plays out. Do they provide drinks for the press? It's hot. Yeah, no, they do. They have up there. We get food and drinks and all kinds of stuff. They having been to Chicago now and having been down in Los Angeles for the NFC Championship last year. So I've been to a couple of other press boxes. I will say that the one here at Levi's Stadium is the best in the league. At least of the three that I've been to, I've only been to three: Levi's, SoFi, and the one down over in Chicago. Levi's has the best press box. John, thank you very much for the positive comment. Glad that you're listening from work. Don't get in trouble. Game starts in about 2 hours and 5 minutes, so you got time to finish up your workday and get home. But I appreciate you listening. Robert Davis comes in. He says he thinks the Flyers are going to win this thing 24-14. Can't see our D giving up more than 14 with the Lambs O-line being subpar. That's a very good call. I'll get into mine here in just a second as far as my predictions. Let's see where we are. All right, so let's get to my prediction really quick. So my prediction, 49ers going to win tonight by a score of 23-20. Now you go back to last year's regular season games between the 49ers and the Rams. The 49ers offense scored 24 points in regulation, 27 if you count the field goal after in overtime. So 27, I guess you could go there. And then in the game here at Levi's, the 49ers offense scored 24 points because remember they also had the pick six. So that's why I'm going with 23. I think the 49ers offense can get a couple of touchdowns. I think you're going to get a couple of field goals. That gets you to 23.
Let's go down.
On the Rams side, I think you get 20. One less field goal out of that side. My prediction there is totally based on the 49ers holding on to the football. Like I mentioned earlier, they're 1-7 when they turn the ball over more than their opponents. They're 12-3 when it's either tied or in their favor. 49ers won that turnover battle once, tied the other two. I just look at this one and I say the 49ers are going to hold on to the football tonight at Levi's Stadium. They're going to do what it takes, and they're going to come out with a big victory, 23-20, and go into Week 5, the road game in Carolina at a 2-2 record and having first place in the NFC West. That's my prediction for tonight's game. Let's see. Andrew wants to know if I ever talked to Lombardi in the press box. No, not really. Said hi to him a couple of times. Not really. David's a pretty quiet guy. I'm very quiet for the most part. So not a lot of talk there in the press box. Usually when I'm up there, I'm focused on what I'm going to write down, and I'm live blogging the game, so I've got to focus on that kind of stuff, and I'm doing my own stuff. I don't really talk to guys too much up in the press box. I should probably get a lot better at that, though. But keep an eye on it. Today I'll be on the field about 90 minutes before the start of the game. Right after the inactives get announced, I'll be on the field. So check it out on the channel here. There'll be some video of different things from warm-ups and those kind of things as the game gets closer. And then also get over to 49ers.pressdemocrat.com. There'll be the live blog will be taking place. So that's where all my analysis is going to be. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll get some of it, but you're going to get more if you follow me at 49ers.pressdemocrat.com. That's over at the Inside the 49ers blog there. Robert wants to ask, if Jimmy looks really bad, do you see Purdy getting some run? Jimmy ain't a starter. He's a backup. Yeah, I do. And that's one of the other things that I said earlier this week when I was on with Larry. I've said it on here a couple of times as well on my own channel, is this is different now. Jimmy, in the past, when Jimmy Garoppolo was the quarterback, if he was the starting quarterback, I would tell you no. But he's not the starting quarterback. He is the backup quarterback. Trey Lance was the starter this year. I think that if things go really bad and we see them in a situation like what we saw last week, and the Rams are putting points on the board and the 49ers are falling behind, you might see Brock Purdy come into this game just to give them a different look and maybe just give up on Jimmy Garoppolo at some point. He's not the long-term solution. There's a financial reason not to start Jimmy Garoppolo if he's struggling. So I would not be completely surprised to see Brock Purdy in the game. But in order for Purdy to get in there, it's going to be a game that the 49ers are going to be getting blown out at. So if you're a 49er fan, don't be cheering for Brock Purdy to get in tonight. Just kind of be looking for him down the road if this team goes south. ratio of Niner fans compared to the Rams fans, oh, that's not even close. Rams fans are outnumbered 10-1 here. It's 49ers all the way. You see a couple of Rams fans every once in a while, but it's not too much. So a lot of 49er fans, red all over the place. Every once in a while you see a blue jersey, but it's rare. Paul wants to see Lombardi on the show when I and Rob do our show on a Monday or a Friday. That might be something we'll have to work out. I'll talk. Rob was going to do the show with me today, but he was not feeling well, so his voice wasn't up to it. So I'm doing it on my own. Told him I could fly solo, but hope he's doing well. Let me get rid of the. There we go. This one, and then Robert says, "Appreciate you, Jack. Really enjoy your fair and impartial commentary." Thanks, Robert. You know what? That's what we try to do. Just try to give you the straight stuff. Don't need to go too crazy on some of these other narratives and things that we see. But it's going to be fun. Tonight's game, 49ers, Rams, Monday Night Football. Doesn't get a whole lot better than that. If you're a football fan, especially if you're a 49er fan, this is one that should get you pumped up and you should feel some adrenaline flowing. So I'm gonna tune out now. Got the band, the drum line is getting started behind me. If you can hear them starting to beat on their drums over there, I'm gonna go ahead and take off. If you guys can do me a favor before you leave, hit that like button for me. Hit that subscribe, and if you subscribe to the channel, make sure you also hit that little bell notification so you don't miss when we go live. Beyond that, also get the 49ers.pressdemocrat.com inside the 49ers blog for instant analysis throughout the game tonight. Take care, everybody. I will be back after the game with my post-game show. So take care. Talk to you all soon.